language.
So we are going to see what happens when morphology does not help to classify a word into a particular category. We are going to see this with two examples with the same word. We know that morphological criteria pays attention to the form of the words, that is to say the word internal properties, which includes inflectional and derivational affixes. But sometimes they may not be helpful. So if morphological criteria are not enough, what can we resort to? In this case, we are going to pay attention to distributional criteria. That is to say, the position the words occupy in a sentence. We have the word water in the sentence, I need some water. In this case, water is a noun, which is complement of the quantifier some in the quantifier phrase, some water. In the case of watering, I water the plants every day, we can identify that this word water is a verb. It is the head of the predicate and it selects two arguments, the DPI that functions as the subject and the DP, the plants, that functions as the direct object.
So far, we have analyzed morphological criteria in relation to nouns and the way in which their internal properties can guide us to establish a particular word is a noun or it is not a noun. We have seen that in some cases, morphology will not be helpful to do so, and we need to resort to distributional criteria to determine whether a particular word is a noun or not. For this reason, it is important to analyze the phrases that may accompany a noun in a given phrase or sentence. The first aspect we should bear in mind is that a noun will project an MP, and that this MP will be the complement of a determiner in a determiner phrase or the complement of a quantifier in a quantifier phrase. And most importantly, for our aim of determining whether a word is a noun or not, it is important to remember that nouns take dependence, both in pre-nominal possession and in post-nominal possession. With respect to the phrases that can pre-modify a noun, these are either an adjectival phrase, such as beautiful, that pre-modifies the noun songs, or another MP, like rock and roll. As to post-modifiers, these include MPs or appositions, such as a favorite song, Sugar, or a prepositional phrase, like in this album, or a clause, such as which was sung by Maroon 5. Now, why is it important to remember the phrases that can modify nouns? Because in a context where it is difficult to tell the word class of a word, the close observation of the phrases that surround this word can help you decide.
In order to describe word categories, we are going to follow different steps. First, we are going to state what word category this is. Then we are going to say what the type of word it is, expanding on the classification. And then we are going to describe it according to morphological criteria and according to distributional criteria. We are going to see the steps to describe nouns. First, we need to take into account the word category it is. Then the type of noun it is. That is to say, if it is a common or a proper noun, if it is a countable or an uncountable noun. If it is countable, is it a regular, an irregular noun, or an invariable noun? Then what about morphological criteria? Can you identify a derivational or an inflectional suffix? What about distributional criteria? Does it have dependence? That is to say, does it have pre-modifiers or post-modifiers? We are going to see this in context. The experienced gardeners in this company have made important decisions. First, we are going to analyze the word gardeners, which is a common countable noun in the plural form. It's a regular noun, and the singular form is gardener. According to morphological criteria, this noun contains the derivational suffix er that adds meaning to the root gardener. In this case, it denotes the person who works in the garden. It also has the inflectional suffix s that carries grammatical information about plural number. According to distributional criteria, this noun is the head of the noun phrase experienced gardeners in this company. This noun phrase is the complement of the determiner the, which forms the determiner phrase the experienced gardeners in this company. Now, the noun head gardener has dependents. It is pre-modified by the adjective phrase experienced and post-modified by the prepositional phrase in this company. So we can have the structure, the whole structure, as a DP. The head of this DP is the determiner the, and this head, the, selects a noun phrase complement, which is experienced gardeners in this company. The noun head is gardener, which is pre-modified by the adjective phrase experienced and post-modified by the prepositional phrase in this company.
So, to conclude, let's summarize what we have discussed so far. First, remember that nouns are classified taking into account what they denote. Nouns can be countable or uncountable. Countable nouns have singular and plural forms. Morphological criteria will help us describe the word internal properties of nouns. And there are affixes that need to be taken into account to see whether that particular word is a noun or not. And these affixes are attached in a certain order. Derivational affixes come first and later inflectional suffixes are attached. With respect to distributional criteria, remember that this criteria is used to describe nouns in a phrase. Nouns project a phrase, that is the noun phrase, and this MP is the complement of a determiner in a determiner phrase or a quantifier in a quantifier phrase. In the MP, nouns can have dependents, that is, they can be pre-modified by an adjectival phrase or another MP, or they can be post-modified by an MP or a position, a prepositional phrase, or a clause.